Today, let's talk about Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, ARWR. This company is impressive. They've been around forever, very scientific-driven company. They've sold their science to a lot of different other larger companies, but they received their first exciting news of an FDA approval. November 18th, 2025, they got it. They got it approved for a product with siRNA therapy for Familial Chylomicronemia Syndrome, FCS. It's called Redemplo, and it treats extremely high triglyceride levels. As always, it's important to know some basics about any company you're getting into the water with, so stick around and you certainly will know a bit more after this question and answer session with our lovely assistant, Carly.
Great to be back with you again, Bobby Swimmer. Tell us, when did Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals get started?
Arrowhead has been around for a long time, forming way back in 1989, with their initial stock offering way back in 1993. To be around that long with them just receiving their first FDA approval says something. It says a lot about their perseverance and their ability to cut deals, and it also says that they've had some good science to be able to cut deals. You don't sell larger pharmaceuticals or arrange for any kind of deals with them with something that's inferior. So just like Arrowhead's longevity, I can't help but think of Iron Man Cal Ripken Jr., with his persistent game streak of 2,632 straight games played over 16 seasons from 82 to 1998, which shattered Lou Gehrig's consecutive streak. It's clear Arrowhead's ramping up to be aggressive with their anticipated growth. Their workforce now stands at over 700 employees on recent reports. Corporate headquarters are in Pasadena, California, but they have Madison and Verona, Wisconsin. They have R&D, chemistry, manufacturing for drug production, and the planned scale-up.
Not to diminish his record of 16 seasons without skipping a game, but I have him beat. I am way past 16 years of not missing my consecutive daily coffee. Arrowhead's first FDA-approved medication, Redemplo, uses a fancy new technology called RNAi. Tell us about RNAi.
No doubt, RNAi is an amazing technology that can go right after the disease caused by the overactive gene. They're highly specific. Think of them like a sniper. They know exactly who they're going after. They don't just randomly kill everything around them. Their job is to go right after that gene that is going haywire in the body. That specificity is what could provide a lot of benefit with few side effects. And this is compared to traditional medications, which you generally have to battle a lot of different side effects.
So that explains why Arrowhead is putting so much effort into small interfering RNA. Interesting, they are targeting a fatty acid molecule, triglyceride. They also seem to have a few pipeline products with a fat focus. So specifically, how does their new FDA-approved Redemplo stop the disease?
Interesting that you bring up stopping fat tissue. Well, triglycerides are a type of fat that we're talking about, and Arrowhead is smack dab in the middle with this recent approval, and of course many of their pipeline candidates. With all the success Lilly and Novo Nordisk have with their GLP-1s, like Ozempic and Mounjaro, the biggest issue with them is that it drops all the fat very well, but it's also dropping people's muscle mass. So other companies, including, of course, Lilly and Novo Nordisk, but other companies, including Arrowhead, are looking for a medication that's more specific for adipose fat tissue while they leave skeletal muscle alone. RNAi might allow for that specificity. Arrowhead's in early clinical phase 1-2A with a candidate ARO-INHBE, which could reduce fat storage and preserve lean skeletal muscle mass by reducing activin E levels. Now, Redemplo, it works by targeting a gene called APOC3. This creates a protein that slows breakdown of triglycerides. So by blocking this gene, it allows more breakdown of triglycerides. Very high values over 1,000 can cause a condition called acute pancreatitis. No, you do not want pancreatitis. This is a disorder or disease that can kill you quickly. The long-term effects of higher than normal values of triglycerides are thought to contribute to plaque buildup in our arteries, which cause, of course, heart attacks and stroke, the number one killer. Finally, higher than normal values can cause insulin resistance, kind of like a metabolic type issue. And insulin resistance is also known as diabetes. Horrible condition. Also, another condition which is metabolic, which is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It was formerly called NASH, but the acronym seems to change a lot. But non-alcoholic fatty liver disease basically takes all the fun about getting liver disease if you don't even get to drink alcohol.
So, if Redemplo can improve triglycerides, why did they focus on such an ultra rare disease for their first FDA approval? Why didn't they try to get approval for the general public, which is in general over consuming fats and have high triglycerides?
Again, Arrowhead's been around for quite some time, and they're smart with what they're doing, and they're very smart with their deployment here on their FDA approvals. You are right. Unfortunately, thanks to the American diet, there are so many people walking around with mildly high triglycerides. Typically, it's more on the mild side compared to what we're looking at here, but they're in the 200, 300, maybe 400 range. However, Arrowhead went after a disease that causes very, very high triglycerides, of course, above 2,000. Remember that, again, normal is less than 150, so 2,000 is up there. And that condition was this familial chylomicronemia syndrome. They could do that and be with that high level target, they can demonstrate an improvement easier and without a doubt so that they can get it through and improved. If they try to go after a lower elevated one, which is a standard base first, it could fail pretty quickly initially. Also, as a game plan, now with one FDA approval under their fat belt with Redemplo, they're continuing their already active trials in clinical phase 3, trying to expand the indication. So they're trying to now get severe hypotriglyceridemia, which is if your triglycerides are over 500. And they're also they have clinical trial for mixed dyslipidemia, which is triglycerides in the 150 to 500 range. That one, since it's called mix, also has elevated LDL cholesterol.
Wow, all this talk of fat is making me want to go have something delicious to eat for some reason. Speaking of something delicious, so the bigger prize for Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals sounds like getting more general indications approved, which appear to be finishing up with their additional clinical trials soon. With that in mind, how impressive was the clinical data that got Redemplo approved?
Redemplo's data was significant and approved based on phase 3 Palisade trial data. Again, remember, this was a sick patient set, since that trial was this ultra rare disorder of genetically confirmed diagnosed FCS, which of course again have a high, very, very high triglycerides. Their dosing was interesting. It's only once every 3 months with Redemplo, which is an easy dosing schedule. And that reduced fasting triglycerides. That means not eating, because you can drive up your triglycerides if you eat like a cheesesteak right before the blood draw. But they fast. It reduced them by about 80% compared to placebo. And I did just say 80%. That's significant compared to placebo of 17%. This is like night and day difference, placebo versus being on the medications. So the median, again, if we're going to talk some real numbers here, the median triglycerides before treatment was 2,044. Then, of course, median is just a stat that says half the patients were higher than 2,044 and half were lower. So after the treatment was started, triglycerides lowered to 433 median. That's 2,000 down to 433, which is incredible reduction. This is also a significant number because the triglycerides now got below a 500 mark, which it seems to have a lot of risk for acute pancreatitis. I'll be curious to see if this success can translate into patients with lower starting triglycerides. Again, these are the clinical trials that are ongoing that they're trying to see with lower triglycerides, and they're trying to expand the scope of the product to more people. It's possible that targeting the APOC3 gene might not have the same impressive results, but we'll find out the results pretty shortly with these two upcoming clinical trials data releases. Again, since this is sniping and targeting APOC3 gene, they also watched for that, and they did see large decreases in that APOC3 protein. And it was sustained, which is really cool. 3-month dosing again. The siRNA has the ability to stay stable over that long duration, which is great. That's another thing they demonstrated. Now, even more impressive was the great benefits of reducing the risk of the acute pancreatitis. They reduced risk by 83% versus placebo group. with them having such super high triglycerides too, they also saw some related lipids reduced, which was the cholesterol, LDLs, and HDLs, all the stuff that we're always watching with our regular blood checkups. Now, finally, Redemplo was generally well tolerated. It just had mild, moderate side effects, and coming out of the approvals, FDA has no warnings or contraindications.
Okay, now it is definitely time to take a snack break. Always exciting to be talking about a medication that receives FDA approval, especially for something that is new upcoming technology and is so effective without a lot of side effects. RNAi sounds like a technology we should all be watching.
Congratulations again to all the hard work everyone at Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals has done to make the FDA approval of Redemplo possible. I'm even more curious to see some of their upcoming clinical data on the medication and, of course, how successful they are with their other RNAi pipeline candidates. There's some interesting ones. Thank you again, Carly, for your assistance today, and thank you for all of the viewers for joining us. Please be sure to join us for another episode of BioTech Swimmer. We'll be diving into a new biotech company and trying to keep it fun and simple as always. Don't miss out, and please hit that subscribe button.